Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll explore 10 countries that have moved away from the US due to Trump's policies. During Donald Trump's presidency, US foreign policy underwent a dramatic shift. His America First approach, tough rhetoric, and controversial decisions led to friction with traditional allies and partners. Many countries began distancing themselves from the United States, seeking new alliances and strategies to safeguard their own interests. In this video, we'll explore 10 countries that have moved away from the US due to Trump's policies. Number 10. Pakistan. Pakistan's relationship with the US experienced serious strain under Trump, particularly after he accused Islamabad of harboring terrorists and cut off military aid. The Pakistani leadership saw this as a betrayal and turned toward strengthening its strategic partnership with China, especially through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Islamabad also began expanding ties with Russia and exploring broader regional alliances. Trump's rhetoric and policies pushed Pakistan to pursue a more diversified foreign policy, reducing reliance on the US, and seeking new avenues for economic and military cooperation outside of Washington's sphere of influence. Number 9. Philippines. The Philippines, under President Rodrigo Duterte, took a markedly different stance toward the United States during Trump's presidency. Though Trump and Duterte shared some political similarities, the long-standing military and diplomatic relationship between the two countries weakened as Duterte sought to reduce U.S. influence. He repeatedly criticized U.S. foreign policy and began forging stronger ties with China and Russia. Duterte's pivot reflected a broader sentiment in the Philippines that the country needed a more independent foreign policy not dictated by Washington. Trump's ambivalence toward human rights concerns and his transactional diplomacy only accelerated Manila's move away from its traditional ally. Number 8. Turkey. Turkey's complex relationship with the United States reached new lows under Trump, especially following U.S. support for Kurdish fighters in Syria, which Ankara considers terrorists. In response, Turkey pursued a more assertive foreign policy, engaging in military operations without American support and even aligning more closely with Russia, particularly through the purchase of advanced Russian missile systems. Trump's inconsistent responses to Turkey's actions created a perception of unreliability, leading Ankara to adopt a more autonomous regional role. These developments marked a clear shift in Turkey's strategic orientation, moving away from the Western alliance. Number 7. South Korea. Despite ongoing cooperation, South Korea grew uneasy during Trump's presidency due to his approach to North Korea and demands for increased financial contributions to host American troops. Trump's willingness to abruptly cancel joint military exercises and his personal diplomacy with Kim Jong-un raised concerns in Seoul about the reliability of the U.S. security umbrella. South Korean policymakers began considering more independent defense strategies and started investing in stronger ties with regional players. This strategic pivot indicated a subtle but noticeable distancing from the traditional reliance on U.S. military support. Number 6. China. Trump's trade war with China, coupled with accusations about intellectual property theft and currency manipulation, pushed the world's second-largest economy to become more self-reliant and assertive on the global stage. Beijing responded by accelerating its Belt and Road Initiative, forging new trade partnerships across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The antagonistic rhetoric from Washington and punitive economic measures caused China to view the U.S. as an adversary rather than a partner. As a result, China increased its investments in domestic technology and began shaping alternative international systems to reduce dependence on Western-led institutions. Number 5. Iran. The Trump administration's decision to abandon the Iran nuclear deal and reimpose crippling sanctions drastically altered U.S.-Iran relations. Tehran viewed the move as a betrayal of international commitments and shifted its strategy away from negotiation with Washington. Instead, Iran turned eastward, deepening its economic and strategic ties with countries like China and Russia. The deteriorating relationship forced Iran to focus on building regional influence through other alliances and proxy networks. Trump's maximum pressure campaign only hardened Iran's stance, leading to a sharp pivot away from any reliance or engagement with the United States. Number 4. Mexico. Mexico's relationship with the United States deteriorated significantly due to Trump's hardline stance on immigration and his persistent calls for a border wall. His portrayal of Mexican immigrants in negative terms and his threats to impose tariffs unless Mexico curbed migration inflamed tensions between the two nations. The Mexican government, while maintaining a practical working relationship with Washington, began to look for more diversified trade relationships. Efforts to deepen ties with Latin American neighbors and participate in global trade pacts outside the U.S. orbit reflected Mexico's growing intent to reduce its vulnerability to American policy swings. Number 3. France. France, under President Emmanuel Macron, emerged as a vocal critic of Donald Trump's foreign policy. From withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord to pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal, Trump's actions were seen as damaging to global cooperation and multilateralism. Macron openly condemned these moves and took steps to fill the leadership vacuum left by the U.S. on the international stage. France increased its efforts to lead climate initiatives and called for stronger European defense capabilities, separate from U.S. influence. The political rhetoric coming out of Washington led France to view its relationship with the U.S. as increasingly unpredictable, prompting a strategic recalibration. Number 2. Canada. Canada's traditionally warm relationship with its southern neighbor faced challenges during the Trump administration. Trump's trade tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, along with his repeated attacks on NAFTA, were met with strong resistance in Ottawa. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government pushed back diplomatically and sought to deepen ties with European and Asian markets to reduce dependence on the U.S. economy. Additionally, Trump's unilateral decisions on climate change and immigration policies clashed with Canada's progressive values, further widening the gap between the two countries. This divergence signaled a growing willingness in Canada to chart a more independent foreign policy path. Number 1. Germany. Germany, long considered a close ally of the United States, started rethinking its relationship with Washington during Trump's tenure. Trump's harsh criticisms of NATO, demands for more military spending, and his decision to withdraw U.S. troops from German soil deeply strained bilateral ties. German leaders publicly expressed concern over the reliability of the United States as a partner, prompting a shift toward greater European self-reliance. Angela Merkel's call for Europe to take its fate into its own hands was a clear indication that Berlin no longer viewed Washington as a dependable leader on the global stage. Germany has since invested in strengthening the European Union's geopolitical presence and diversified its diplomatic relationships. Donald Trump's foreign policy fundamentally altered America's standing around the world. His focus on unilateralism, economic protectionism, and often confrontational diplomacy led many nations to reconsider their ties with the United States. Traditional allies sought new partnerships, regional powers redefined their strategies, and even former adversaries found opportunities to challenge American influence. While some of these relationships may recover over time, the impact of Trump's presidency has left a lasting mark on global geopolitics, prompting a world that is more multipolar and less dependent on U.S. leadership.